Oh, YouTube. Well, today I'm going to visit the Cherokee Strip Museum and learned a little bit about the land run that happened here. Or this was the staging area for it. So let's go inside and take a look. So the history of the area goes way back before the land rush, and even before the Oklahoma was Indian territory. The Spaniards out of New Mexico came this way exploring, ran into a group of a nomadic tribe who told them about an even larger tribe who was their enemies up here along the banks of the Walnut River. They came up here. They were told that by the first band that they were very violent people, and they came up here. The Spaniards were camped on one side of the river, saw the settlement on the other side. The chief came over with a couple other people and offered peace offerings of corn. And of course, the Spaniards, being what they were, took them hostage, which really ticked off the rest of the people. And they did leave the village. So when the Spaniards crossed over, they found an empty village. And when they came back through, the warriors were waiting for them. Had come back into the village and attacked them, and it ended up being a battle across for them to get back across the river. And they did take a couple of hostages with them back to Mexico to be interrogated. And here at the museum, they've got quite a collection of Native American artifacts. Got some more over here. As well as a couple of reproduced helmets like the Spaniards would have been wearing. The Trail of Tears led here to the Indian lands, now known as Oklahoma. And as we remember from one of my videos in Delonga, Georgia, where they discovered gold on Cherokee land, and that was part of the reason that they were forced out. They had adopted the white ways, and they actually took it to the Supreme Court, and they won, but President Jackson ignored it, and they rounded up 15,000 Cherokee to move them out here, and what we know as the Trail of Tears, and about 4,000 of them died along the way, so a quarter of the Cherokee Nation. January 1st, 1863, the Homestead Act went into effect. It was passed by Congress in 1862 to encourage people to settle the western lands. And any adult citizen or would-be citizen could claim 160 acres of public land and gain title to it by living there for 6 months and paying $125 an acre, or by living there for 6 months and making significant improvements, in which case they just had to pay a small registration fee. And I think that's what the Ingalls from the last video were counting on, having land opened up, and for whatever reason they didn't do it. Anyway, then when the decision was made to open up the Indian lands, the Oklahoma Territory, they sent in surveyors to survey off those different sections, and it could be pretty hot and dangerous and dirty. Here's a group of guys that were surveyors. The first group went to work in the Cherokee Strip were ambushed and killed by the Native Americans. And usually it would be a group of about 6 men they established all those straight lines, and they aligned the markers by using the transit, which is what that is, and then others were pounding the stakes in to mark off the corners. Now, leading up to the run, there were a lot of people pouring into the area and camping along the border, and the towns that were here would do quite a business. And one of the biggest needs, of course, was water, so that's where they would tend to congregate. Now, there were 3 land runs. The first was in 1889, and that was into the unassigned Oklahoma Territory. And then another one in 1891, and followed by the third one in 1893. And that morning of September 16th, saw between 30 and 50,000 people lined up to go into the Cherokee Strip, waiting for that signal at noon. Now, the biggest one is 1893. It was noon on September 16th. The estimated at 100,000 people were gathered along this border, waiting to go in to get 20,000 plots. So chances are, only 1 in 5 were going to make it. So it was quite a mad dash. And there were people with wagons with oxen, these guys on horseback, some of them with horses they expected to run 20, 25, 30 miles and to get some choice sites. There was towns laid out so you could get in to get one, and if you're looking for a plot in one of the soon-to-be towns. And in order to be allowed to go in there, you had to register. And people would wait in line for days, literally wait in line for days to get in to register. There were so many people. And sort of nice little diorama of them waiting. Now, here at the museum, they have a list on the wall when you first come in of people that had registered and where they had come from. And not all of them were known. I, of course, do what everybody else does, goes look for my family name, and there were 5 Cobbs, one we don't know. This one, I think, Italy, Kansas, Texas, and OT, which I'm thinking is Ontario. I don't believe any of those are distant relatives of mine. They all seem to come from places away from New England, where my family is from. I think that's going to end my visit here to the Cherokee Strip Land Run Museum. Going to get on the road, see what other interesting places I can find. See you later, YouTube. That's quite the casket.